welcome back to Rambling Roxy's Adventures Through History. Today we're at the Sherman House Museum and we're going to do a cool tour. As you can see, there's a cool cannon in front, so that's always a good sign. But it's a good place to go check out some Civil War history right here in Ohio. Hi, welcome back to Rambling Roxy's Adventures Through History. I'm here in Lancaster, Ohio at Sherman's boyhood home, and we're gonna get a tour to see what his life was like growing up and what it was like as a kid here in Sherman's house, in the Sherman household. He was a famous general in the Civil War for the Union, but we'll get into that later. We're gonna mainly talk about what his life was like here in Lancaster as a boy. So we're gonna turn it over and we're gonna get a tour of the house. Are you excited?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about General Sherman's family and also about General Sherman, what his life was like as a boy here, okay? This is the house that Charles and Mary Hoyt Sherman bought. They came from Connecticut in 1811, and they had one child, Charles, and it took them 5 to 6 weeks to come here, and they bought this house. And in this house they had 10 more children. They had 11 children, and General Sherman was one of those children. So we're going to talk about what his life was like in this home, and we're going to start out in the kitchen. Now, I call this, the kitchen, the family room of the 1800s. This is where the family would have spent most of the time. Now, Charles, he was a circuit judge, so he was away a lot riding the circuit, but the children and Mary were here. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what General Sherman would probably have to do to help his mother in the kitchen. His mother would cook on the hearth and also probably bathe the children here. So he would have to go out and get water for the baths. He would have to help to get wood, of course, to have the fire going. He would have to make sure that he kept the little ones away from the fire while his mother was cooking. Also, some of the things that they did in here, they made soap, so he probably helped his mother make soap. They also made candles, so he probably helped his mother to make candles so they can see. Remember, there was no electricity back then.
And there weren't a lot of stores either to go buy this stuff.
No,
plus it was expensive.
They had to make it. So, should we stop it?
Oh, whoops, I didn't press. Go.
Another thing that General Sherman probably did was he probably helped his mother to weed the garden and things. His mother brought a lot of herb seeds from Connecticut, and so she had a lot of herbs that she used to cook, and she would bring them in and dry them, and she would use them in her food. And Mary was such a good cook, using herbs and things, and she was probably one of the best cooks in the town. So a lot of General Sherman's friends and things would come here to eat because they loved her food.
Oh, what a great place to come hang out.
Okay, when General Sherman's parents came from Connecticut in 1811, they bought this part of the house, the kitchen and the dining room, and 2 bedrooms upstairs. And then when they knew they were going to have quite a few kids, in 1816 they built on 2 more rooms and 2 more bedrooms upstairs. Now the front part of the house was not here. It was added on in 1870 after the Shermans left by a new owner. So would you like to go upstairs? And you're going to watch me, because guess what I get to do? I get to touch the railing as I go upstairs, and General Sherman touched this railing. Can you imagine how many times he went up and down the stairs? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, probably several times.
Now we're going to come into the parents' room first. This is where General Sherman's parents, Mary and Charles, would have slept. And when General Sherman was a baby, he would have slept in that cradle in this room. Is that neat? That was his cradle, and that was also all his brothers and sisters' cradle.
Wow.
Is that neat? Huh?
That's pretty good that it survived all this
I
time.
know. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Huh?
Yeah. Rock everyone right to sleep.
And if there were, most of the children were about a year and a half apart. So they might have had 2 babies sleeping in here. And then
Probably then this other...
and then they would, once they got a little older, the children would come in here to sleep. And this was the children's bedroom. Now, it's a very cold room because notice there's no fireplace in here. So the kids, probably there was a bed and then a trundle bed underneath where they slept. Then when they added on 2 rooms in 1816, there was more bedrooms, but it got pretty crowded. That's a lot of children.
Yeah,
Anyway,
imagine not just sharing a bedroom, but sharing a bed and space and toys. They're probably pretty good at sharing. I know my twins aren't always the best at sharing, but I bet they had to be pretty good, or there was a few fights.
Sure, and if you look, can you scan the room? If you look, see some of the toys that they might have played with, such as blocks.
I see the blocks.
And bowling pins.
Oh, and is there a doll over here?
A doll and some dishes. And
Is that music?
I think I don't know what that's called.
Yeah, some sort of music maker.
But that's a slate that they had written on. But the Shermans, because of how many children they had and things, they didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of the toys that the children had, they might have made. They went outside and they played with things, and they might have made their dolls out of sticks and who knows what else, but they probably did a lot of that using their imagination.
Yeah, before the mud kitchen was a cool thing back then too.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about General Sherman. His name, he was named William Tecumseh Sherman. And we'll see it in the Bible in a few minutes. And Tecumseh was an Indian, and he was pretty famous back then. And General Sherman's father, he really thought a lot of Tecumseh. And so he decided to name one of his children Tecumseh, and it was hard to say. So the school children called him Cump. That was his nickname. He was called Cump. And when he went to school, he was very, very bright. And he really did a good job in school. Now, one of the problems he had was that he had red hair. And he hated that red hair. And I'm sure the kids made fun of it. Back then, there weren't a lot of redheaded people. There's a lot more today. So what he did was, he decided that he was going to dye it. Well, he figured it would turn out brown or black or something and look, normal. It turned green. It was awful.
No.
And what he did was, he had to wait till it grew out because he didn't have any other option. But you know what? When you do something like that, he learned from it. He learned that looks aren't the most important thing about a person, it's how they are. And so General Sherman used that a lot as he grew older, and of course was a general in the Civil War. Okay, right here, this is Senator Thomas Ewing and his wife Maria. And I told you that Charles, General Sherman's father, rode the circuit. And he was away a lot. And in 1929, when General Sherman was a little over 9, he didn't come home. And the reason he didn't come home was he got very ill and he died of typhoid fever. It was really bad, just like COVID is now. Typhoid fever was very, very bad. So he died, and here was his mother Mary, and she had all these children, and she couldn't take care of them all. So what she did was she kept the 3 little ones, and then the older ones had to go either with family or with friends. And so Thomas Ewing, he was a neighbor. He lived a few doors up, and he was a real good friend of Charles. So he came down and he decided to take Cump because he was very smart. So he took Cump up to live with him. And so he wasn't a part of this family anymore. He could come down and see his mother and eat here and stuff, but he was a part of their family. And we'll look at the Bible. This is an 1830 Bible. And what they would do is when they had children, they would write their names in a Bible. And you can see William Tecumseh Sherman in the Bible.
Wow.
So that's an actual family Bible. Is that not neat?
Yeah, that's really cool that they had all their family members recorded in one place.
Yeah, and all the children. So we had that. Okay, is there...
Hi, now we're going to kind of get into General Sherman as an adult and what he did and all the great things that he accomplished. And we're going to get into a little bit of that and see part of the house that it shows his military career and his role in the Civil War. So first, I'm going to take a look at the beginnings of his career.
Look at him as an adult. That was good.
Yeah, so here's some of the things that he accomplished as an adult. This is him at the
Louisiana Military Academy.
The Louisiana Military Academy. That's what he did after his time at West Point. West Point is a famous military training school that Thomas Ewing helped get him into. And then this is him right shortly before the Civil War started. And this was his first major job in the military at the Louisiana Military Academy. As you can see, he was quite a handsome young man. Unfortunately, we can kind of see, looking at pictures later, what war can do to you as far as aging you. But he was a very attractive young man. I think I can see why he turned many a lady's head back in the day. So we're going to kind of come through here, and we're going to look at, here was his military tent. And well, it's not his specific tent, but a tent that would have been used during that time period. But there is his writing desk here, where he would have sat writing all of his letters to his wife and his children, but also figuring out important military strategies and how to win the war for the Union or the North, to help bring the country back together and to help free the slaves of the South. And as you can see, there's a lot of, well, it's hard to... The video on here makes it hard to see, but there's a nice interactive battle map that you can see all the major battles that he fought and kind of see the progression that he went through with his first battle, second battle, and you can read more about that if you come visit the museum. And there's a cool button here. There's a cool button here that tells you all kinds of information, and it's like a cool little audio play along in this room to tell you so much more about it. And I don't want to take up all of our time today, but it's a great thing to learn more about this area. And then here is the famous flag that he himself designed, which is it's a pretty cool flag and has a lot of, I think, artistic talent behind it. And then we're going to go into this room, which has a lot of military memorabilia and artifacts from that time period. You can see several of the pictures of him in his military uniform. If you like Civil War cannonballs and guns and all that stuff, I know my husband loves all that. So if you enjoy that, there's lots to learn here, but there's also lots of pictures of the battles. And then something I found really interesting is that there's something that survived all this time, and it's a piece of food. It's a piece of hardtack that was, it's Union issue bread that the soldiers ate during the time. It's mainly flour and water, but someone found it in their pocket, and it's it survived and it stayed in this museum. So that's pretty awesome little thing to keep. There's also some of the other famous generals, such as U.S. Grant, who was friends of sorts with Sherman, and he's also another Ohio native. As you can see, there's lots of really cool stuff to see here, lots of interesting history, and all kinds of things that tell more about his life as a Civil War general, and you get to learn more about the Civil War and Ohio's role in the Civil War, and some of the famous people that we have from right here in Lancaster, Ohio, that helped win the war and go on to have America as we know it today. Who knows what might have happened if things were a little bit different. But I encourage all of you to come out to this cool museum. The Sherman House is right here in Lancaster, Ohio. It's on Main Street, and I'll put the address in the comment in the about section. And I hope to see everyone here. They have check their website. They have several different kind of events that are really cool, and hopefully be able to do some more school tours as time progresses. Thanks for tuning in to Rambling Roxy.